Hello, world. It is Wednesday, August 4th, 2021, and yet another gorgeous morning this morning. Very cool, sunny, blue skies. Perfect weather, I think. Um, so enjoy it while we can, because I think this weekend I think it's Saturday or Sunday, it's supposed to be quite hot again. But this is quite pleasant. The devotion for today is entitled People Not Getting It, written by Quinn Caldwell. Quinn bases the devotion upon 2 Samuel 14, verse 13, New Revised Standard Version. The woman said, "Why then have you planned such a thing against the people of God? For in giving this decision, the king convicts himself." And Quinn writes, "If I were King David, I would never answer anybody's ethical questions like ever. Whenever somebody comes to him with a story and a request for judgment, they end up tricking him into convicting himself. I'd be too smart to fall for that. The prophet Nathan has just done him this way concerning Bathsheba. Now here comes the old woman with a story about how one of her sons killed the other. Everybody wants the murderous son killed in revenge, but that would leave her without her sons, any sons. And David, who never will learn to keep his trap shut, gives a decree that everybody has to leave the son alone. Of course, what the reader knows, and what David really should be able to see, is that he himself is in the same situation with his own son, which of course the old woman does not refrain from pointing out to him, just as Nathan did a minute ago. How dense can you be, David? Over and over you hear these stories and pass judgment on their characters, never managing to apply that same wisdom to your own life. Somebody could probably write all those stories down in a book, hand it to you, and with admonitions to study them for your own good, you could hear the stories read to you every single week, and you still would find a way to judge the people in them without managing to apply the lessons to your own life. When will you ever get it?" And Quinn's prayer. This would be easier to type if it weren't for this log in my own eye. Amen. I always like Quinn's devotions because they're, in a sense, kind of comical but serious at the same time. I just love his writing style. But anyway, the devotion, I think it brings up a good point. I mean, in the bigger story, we're actually in the middle of I'm in the middle of preaching on 2 Samuel right now, and in the bigger picture, Absalom killed Asmon, or Amnon. Amnon, his half brother and David's oldest son, and then Absalom went into exile, and David would have nothing to do with him and really wanted him killed for it. So it's the same situation that the woman brings up to David. And David passes judgment to save her son, and yet he won't do that for his own son. So it's a story about judging other people without really being self-reflective on how that same sense might apply to one's own life. And I think that's a trap we can almost many of us can fall into. Much easier seeing someone else's problems than admitting to ourselves our own problems. Because that's hard sometimes, I think, to look honestly and openly at our own lives. And as Quinn's prayer said, this would be easier to type if it weren't for this log in my eye, which is a reference to a New Testament text about complaining about somebody else's splinter when you don't even see the log in your own eye. So I think it's a good reminder for us to be careful what we say about one another, and don't be afraid to look honestly at your own life and see what you can change. See what better person you can be. I hope you have a good day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.